So, for the last few years, China has been doing something that really hasn't been done in modern history. They are directly relinking their currency to gold. And they're not just buying it, they are systematically building an entire parallel financial system designed to operate completely outside of the US dollar. I mean, this is a huge story, and in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how it works. Okay, so let's just dive right in. It really all boils down to this one central question. For years now, the People's Bank of China has been the single biggest buyer of gold in the world. And that pace is just accelerating. So, why? To really understand this global chess move, we have to look at a fundamental breakdown of trust that is shaking the entire world of finance. So, what on earth sparked this global rush back to gold? I mean, this isn't a new idea. Well, it all comes down to a single event that pretty much shattered a core belief in how global finance is supposed to work. You see, for decades, the world ran on a pretty simple premise. US dollars and treasuries were the safest place you could possibly store your country's wealth. Something like 70% of all global reserves were held in dollars. But then 2022 happened. When the US froze Russia's foreign reserves, it sent an incredibly clear message to the rest of the world. If your reserves are in dollars, they're not really yours. They can be switched off. And that just shattered a core pillar of trust in the global financial system. And you can literally see the reaction right here on this chart of China's gold holdings. For years, it was pretty stable, and then boom, it just explodes. And here's the kicker. China isn't doing this in secret. They are buying publicly at a record pace, basically to send a clear signal to other nations, we have the gold, we have a way off the dollar. Right, and this is so important to understand. It's not just China. This is a global trend. Central banks all over the world are selling US treasuries and buying physical gold. As you can see right here, the dollar's share of global reserves, it's falling to its lowest level in decades, while gold's share is steadily climbing. A really fundamental shift is underway.
Okay, but simply buying up a ton of gold isn't enough, right? To truly compete with the dollar, you need a whole new system, a whole new set of financial plumbing. And this is where we start to see China's master plan really kick into gear.
So, the first step was this quiet but absolutely massive regulatory upgrade. For decades, under the old banking rules, gold was considered a Tier 3 asset. What that really means is a bank holding, say, $1 billion worth of gold could only count half of it, 500 million, on their books. But under the new Basel III rules, gold got a huge promotion. It's now a Tier 1 asset. That means it counts for 100% of its value, exactly the same as cash. It went from being just a shiny rock in a vault to a respectable, hardcore financial instrument. But that's just the beginning. The ultimate goal, the real holy grail, is to get gold recognized as a high-quality liquid asset, or HQLA. Right now, that exclusive club is basically just US Treasuries. Being an HQLA is the key, because it allows an asset to be used as collateral for all sorts of financing. I mean, it's the very foundation of global lending. If gold becomes an HQLA, countries won't need dollars anymore to finance their economies. So how is China making this happen? Well, they've built something absolutely ingenious called the Gold Corridor. And honestly, this quote is the perfect way to think about it. It's like a system built on old world physical trust, but with modern transparency. And it's designed to solve all the historical problems that a gold-backed currency used to have. Let me break down how it works. First, it solves the trust problem. Instead of you having to send your gold to China, you store it in a local, verifiable vault in your own region, and it's all connected to the Shanghai Gold Exchange. Second, it solves transparency. The SGE digitally tracks every single bar, purity, serial number, who owns it, the whole shebang. And third, and this is brilliant, it solves volatility. Instead of using the jumpy daily price of gold, loans are based on a 200-day moving average. This creates the stability you absolutely need for large-scale financing. Okay, so China has built the system. They've laid all the new financial plumbing. What does this thing actually do? Well, this is where we see the huge geopolitical impact, as China basically positions itself to become the world's new banker. Just imagine you're a country in Africa. You're rich in gold, but you're lacking infrastructure. So under this new system, you can deposit your own gold into a local vault. The BRICS New Development Bank then loans you yuan against that gold. And now you can build the roads, the ports, the power plants that you need. So the crucial point here is that this entire process happens without ever touching the IMF, the World Bank, or the US dollar. It's a completely parallel track. And the sheer scale of this shift is just staggering. A lot of major financial institutions are now suggesting that central banks and sovereign wealth funds should increase their holdings of hard assets, like gold, from around 20% to 30%. Now, that 10% shift might not sound like much, but when you apply it across the entire global financial system, it represents an estimated $2 trillion of new demand. And here's the thing, unlike dollars, you can't just print more gold. Now, you might think the US is just sitting by watching all this happen. Nope. They know exactly what's going on. The US has actually been quietly bringing its gold home from vaults in places like London. See, in a world that's shifting back to physical settlement, who actually holds the gold? Well, that becomes everything. This is a very clear strategic move to get ready for a new financial reality. So what does all this lead to? Where is this all heading? Well, we may be witnessing the beginning of a great split in the global monetary system, something that just hasn't happened in modern history. We're seeing two completely different visions for the future emerge. Over in the East, led by China, a system is being built where money is backed by a physical, tangible asset, gold. It's centralized and it's controlled. On the other side, you've got the West, led by the US, which could end up competing using its greatest strength, technology. A system built on open, programmable assets like stablecoins, or maybe even Bitcoin. And this table really breaks down those two competing models of trust. Gold, its trust comes from thousands of years of human history. It's physical, it's stable, maybe a bit slow. Bitcoin's trust, that comes from pure mathematics and energy. It's digital, it's fast, it's borderless. So you have China's system, which is all about control and hard collateral, and the West's competing system, which could be all about openness and transparency. You know, for the last 80 years, there was really only one global standard. There was no choice. But now we are entering a phase where nations and maybe even individuals are going to have a choice. Two competing ideas of what money is and what it should be are entering the global stage at the